Phantasmic Journey podcast is brought to you by Tascam and Amazon Studios. For more than 30 years, Tascam has developed products for every segment of the sound and music industry. From the high-end audio professional in a major post-production studio to the novice of hobbyist at home, Tascam is everywhere. They are a company committed to providing their customers audio and video solutions that enable breakthroughs by using sound in ways that are exciting as they are accessible, even recording the voices of the dead. You asked for a non-scripted paranormal TV show. You begged for a non-staged paranormal TV show. You begged and you pleaded, and we have listened. We present to you Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown. It was released October 31st, 2017. In this series, we show you what it's like behind the scenes and conducting a real paranormal investigation. Join Gavin Kelly and Paula Purcell and their special guests to seek out the existence of life after death by going to numerous haunted locations such as jails, hospitals, battlefields, and museums, collecting compelling evidence by means of video, photography, and EVPs. In this season, the crew investigates the St. Albans Sanatorium, Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, Jailhouse Pizza, and the famed Monroe House. And you can watch Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown on Amazon.com right now. Season 2 and 3 will be coming soon. Your journey begins now. As you all have of the known and unknown. What do we understand? What answers are we trying to achieve? Are there answers? Tonight, we gather to find more verity. Join us as we take the journey into the unknown. This is the Phantasmic Journey podcast with your hosts, Gavin Kelly and Paula Purcell. Well, welcome to the Phantasmic Journey podcast, everyone. I'm Gavin Kelly, and sitting right next to me is my lovely wife, Paula Purcell. How are you today, Paula?
Feeling a little froggy, choked up in the throat.
Oh, well, that's kind of sucks. So, I guess Paula won't be doing much of the talking tonight, but she's going to try her best. Her best Kermit the Frog impression.
Ha ha ha, you gonna play Miss Piggy?
No. I'm not even sure I could actually handle Miss Piggy's voice.
Oh, God.
It'd be kind of funny, though. Oh, Kermie! There you go.
Oh, God.
So, anyway.
I feel like I'm more like Frog from, what's the name of that one vampire movie?
Hello, everybody. I'm Kermit the Frog.
No, the Frog Brothers.
The Frog Brothers?
You don't remember the Frog Brothers? It was Corey Feldman and what was the name of that movie?
I have no clue.
My brain is totally dead.
I have no clue. But what do you have to tell us? What's in store for us?
Well, I really, of course, being sick, not feeling good for the past couple of days, didn't have a lot. But I do have one story that is kind of interesting. You know, when someone passes away and we have, we make funeral arrangements, and a lot of people like to put mementos. Yeah.
They put Mentos?
Yeah, they put Mentos.
Okay.
They put items in the casket with their loved ones that they, sometimes they just do it for just the viewing and take them back out, and some people want them to be buried with them. And I noticed that it's become a trend here lately, or at least for the past 5 years, that people lets them bury their cell phones with them.
Why would you want to bury your cell phone with you?
I don't know, but I'm just like, okay. So there has been a few stories of people burying cell phones with them, and there has been a couple of stories that I have found out. How much of it's true, don't know, but some of them are very detailed out to where they get a call from the dead.
I'm pretty sure that would freak me out. But isn't there a story about a guy that worked in the...
There was a guy that worked in a funeral home. Ah. And the family, I guess the person that died was about 18, 19 years old. It died in a ugly car accident, and they had to, of course, do a lot of botching and fix him up and everything for presentation.
So he died at an early age.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the story proceeds on, and I read the whole story. It's pages and pages long. This guy put this on his blog.
Oh, wow.
And it was pages and pages and pages long. I only gave you a small version of it, and I'm going to give an even smaller version tonight of it.
To save your voice?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, anyway, the gentleman worked at a funeral home. He basically took care of intake cases. I mean, he didn't work with the bodies. He just did, like, the paperwork to file with the insurance companies, and then he helped with the families and picking out, you know, the casket and all those things that you do when you're at a funeral home.
Okay.
So we proceeded on, you know, helped the family come in, plan the funeral and everything, and they get left, you know, the things that they wanted to be buried, you know, with the gentleman that had passed away. He was a big Yankees fan, so he had his Yankee jersey and his hat.
Right.
And one of the items they left to be put in the casket with him was his cell phone. So
Was the cell phone still working?
I'm assuming he didn't really say anything to that effect throughout the whole thing, if it was or not. But
Still, the idea of putting a working cell phone in the casket of the deceased is kind of odd and out of the ordinary, if you ask me.
yeah, well, proceeding on, you know, he gives all those things to the gentleman that goes and takes care of the bodies.
Right.
He goes home that night. While he's there, he's taking a shower and all that stuff. His cell phone goes off. And it's a text message. And the text message says, "I'm mad at you." And he messaged back, goes, "Who is this?" He messaged back, "Mad at you." And he goes, "Who is this?" He goes, "Bobby." And he messages back, "Bobby who?" And he says, You took care of my parents today for my funeral, and I don't like what they picked out for my service." This guy's like, oh, this, you know, someone's playing a practical joke on him or at the funeral home or something.
I would think that too. I mean, think about it. You got this dead kid's cell phone messaging you saying, "Hey, I'm mad at you."
And, you know, they go on with a little conversation, and the other party says, "You should have been in that car instead of me." It was, you know, it became a bitter, cold text message.
That was pretty bad.
So the next day, you know, just to prove a theory that, you know, he went down there and he checked to make sure the cell phone was still in the casket.
Which it was.
Which it was. It was laying on his chest.
Right.
So he went back up and did his office duties, and he told the guy, he says, "You know what? I'll close up shop tonight," because he wanted to make sure he was the last one to leave.
Right.
And make sure, you know, everything was up and to see if he can catch who did this prank and stuff.
To see if it'll happen again.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they did all that. He went downstairs and he went into where they keep all the, you know, he was already in his casket, and they keep the room extremely cold because it's going to be for the viewing for the next day.
Right.
And he checks everything, and he, you know, sees the phone sitting on there, and so he thought he'd test the theory. Okay?
Let me guess, he pressed redial.
He pressed redial on his phone.
Right.
And the phone went back to Bobby's phone.
So it vibrated on Bobby's chest.
On Bobby's chest.
Oh, boy.
He was like, okay, you know, but he still thought someone was playing a trick on him.
Right.
And so he just closed the lid. He made sure everything was locked and everything, and he was the last one. He set the security alarm at the funeral home.
Right.
He got out to his vehicle, started his vehicle. His cell phone went off while he was still in the parking lot.
Oh, jeez.
Of the funeral home, and it was this time a call.
Oh, it called him.
And the person on the other says, "Why don't you come back? I'm lonely."
Oh, jeez. Nope.
He slammed his phone down and just ran, you know, drove fast as he could at home.
Mm-hmm.
Next morning, he called up his job and told me quit.
Oh, I wouldn't put it past him.
But that's not the only stories I've heard. After I heard that story, I kind of searched into it, and it has become a popular fad.
Wow.
And
yeah, I wouldn't bury a cell phone. Nope. All right. Well, on that note, our guest tonight is not only a paranormal investigator, researcher, and enthusiast, But 6 days after his 18th birthday, he suffered a sudden cardiac arrest and was legally dead. Yes, I said this, dead for 7 minutes before he was revived by the paramedics. After his brush with death, he wanted to know more, and also so he set out on a journey to find answers. He began working with some of the most experienced investigators out there and having some of the most insane experiences, and we will learn about some of those experiences. He is a skeptically open-minded person. He goes into a lot of investigation with an open mind and with the mindset not everything is paranormal. He tries to look at things outside of the box during the investigations. I'm talking about 27-year-old Austin Maynard, founder of CCP, which is Creepy Cincinnati Paraforensics, and just recently started SOP, which is Spectral Ohio Paraforensics. With 100 of investigations under his belt, he set out to become the founder of Haunted Bryan Investigations out of Bryan, Ohio. Have you ever wanted to have an opportunity to investigate an entire town? Well, now you can. Haunted Bryan is actually a town in Bryan, Ohio. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Let me go ahead and get Austin on the phone here, and we could talk to him all about his experiences and, of course, investigations and Haunted Bryan. You should pick up soon.
Hello?
Hey, Austin, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. This is Gavin, and I got Paula next to me. She's going to probably not do most of the talking because she's sort of losing her voice, and if you were listening in, she sounds like Kermit the Frog. So, how you doing tonight, man?
Doing pretty good, man.
All right.
Just sitting here and, playing with some of my new toys.
So, I got to ask, during this bio that I wrote up on about you, it said that you suffered a cardiac arrest 6 days after your 18th birthday, and you were clinically dead for 7 minutes. What do you actually remember about that before you were revived by the paramedics?
To be honest with you, I remember very little. I suffered a traumatic head injury, and so I suffered frontal lobe inhibition and short-term memory loss. So really, I remember waking up in the hospital.
Right.
And I remember, the moment before I opened my eyes. And I just remember, almost coming out of a dream.
But you don't remember...
I woke up I was out of a deep sleep. It was weird.
But you don't remember anything that happened? Because I've actually spoke to, a couple people that actually had near-death experiences, and they talk about the bright light. They saw themselves either on the table or on the floor and things of that nature. You didn't experience any of that?
Well, I may have, but like I said, I suffered a traumatic head injury, so I don't even remember much of the day that it actually happened. Okay. So, the only thing I remember is, darkness, just black, and then opening my eyes and seeing a doctor and my mother in front of me in tears.
Okay, well, that makes sense. But then, all of a sudden, you wanted to know more. You wanted to know more about what, exactly?
Well, it made me realize that there was a stage between life and death.
Okay.
There is an unconsciousness state that people have the ability to what they call astral project, which is seeing yourself.
Right.
People can go to different places and experience all kinds of things while they're dreaming or in a coma or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I realized that people are able to experience all these things, and there is a different level of consciousness that we are really unaware of, and science really has no idea how dreams work.
Right.
And so, I mean, I think there's some kind of tie between a dreamlike state and your unconscious state and, you know, death. I feel like there's a fine line in between all three of those.
Yeah, our previous guest actually had a near-death experience, and he actually got to see heaven and hell, and then saw the bright light. But before he did that, he actually could see himself lying on the operating table, which is really creepy if you ask me. I mean, here you are floating above, and you're seeing yourself lying there, and you're just like, where am I? What am I doing? And, you know, of course, he got to see, you know, relatives come toward him and stuff like that. But, yeah, he actually got to see both sides, and that kind of just really blows my mind. I mean, we're going to start bringing in more people to actually have near-death experiences. We can learn a little bit more about it. But you took it a step further. You set out on a journey to try to find answers, and then you started working with the most experienced paranormal investigators out there. And while you were doing that, you were having the most insane experiences. Care to share those with us?
Oh, man, there's way too many experiences for me to share.
We got time. It's 2 hours. Come on.
Well, I mean, there are a few that stand out to me a little bit more than others, I guess.
Okay.
Like, my first experience that I ever had was my first ever investigation. Now, I went on, you know, I had never done it before. I'd never done an investigation before. And so Nick Groff had just quit Ghost Adventures, and he was coming to Bobby Mackey's,
Right.
which at the time was only like 45 minutes from me. And my wife had wanted to meet him, and I was like, okay, you know, so I bought the ticket. And I wasn't really sure what to expect. But while we were investigating down there, you know, I actually felt two hands on my back push me from behind in the room of faces down in the basement.
Oh, okay.
And I actually flew forward several feet. Like, I flew forward with force, and I turned around ready to clock somebody, like, who the hell just pushed me, you know, kind of thing. And there was nobody there. I was facing the cement wall.
Was it
So
near
that was
the
my
dressing
first,
rooms?
like, ever experience.
Was it near the dressing room where you got pushed?
No, you know the room of faces?
Yeah, I know where that's at.
Yeah, it was in the room of faces.
Okay, I got you. That's where we went there a long time ago, and they actually made us sit in the darkness, and they kept on saying that you're going to start seeing swirling lights and dark masses flying above you, and I'm just like, hey, we're going to see something like from Indiana Jones or something when they opened the Ark. But yeah, that didn't happen. So, okay, so you felt two hands on your back just pushed you completely out of the room of faces.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And then another one that was really profound to me. Have you guys ever heard of a place called Whispers Estate?
Oh yeah, I have.
Mitchell, Indiana.
Yep.
Yeah. I was actually there. This was a crazy experience because it happened all at the end of the night as we were packing up, of course.
Okay.
And I was just upstairs by myself, just winding up camera cables in this bedroom they call Jesse's room.
Okay.
Which I think is, when you walk up right to the stairs, it's the first bedroom door. And there's this closet in that room that they say the spirit of this little boy named Gary likes to hang out, and he'll roll toy cars back to you if you roll it to him. We forgot to experiment with that all night, but of course, as I'm winding up camera cables in that room, the door knob turns, and the door just opens 180 degrees all by itself.
Oh, wow.
And I watch every second of it, and that kind of sends a chill down my spine.
You get it on camera?
No.
Oh, man.
Of course. That's why I said, of course, it's as we're packing up. You know, I'm winding up the camera cables, and of course, then I decide to do it.
Yeah, usually we try to take a camera with us while we're taking stuff apart just in case. Or we have a recorder on us so we can actually record things that go on around us while we're packing up. Because you never can tell what's going to happen. You okay
That's
with
a
that?
really good idea.
Yeah.
Start doing that.
Oh, yeah.
But as far as like, oh man, I mean, I've seen rocks get thrown at the Old Crow Distillery down in Frankfort, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people get scratched right in front of my eyes. I've seen somebody kind of partially get possessed.
Partially what?
At least you know, I don't know for sure, but it like seemed like it. It was my wife, actually.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so that's weird because she does not act like that.
Yeah, it's truly amazing when you're able to get scratched, punched, slapped, tripped, tugged by an unseen force, and there's nothing there. I mean, that's truly amazing. I mean, I've actually seen someone get scratched too, but it didn't like happen, you know, with me watching it happen. All of a sudden, he goes, "I feel a burning sensation," and of course, when someone says that, you know, the first thing in your mind is scratched, and that was Paula.
Yeah.
That was Paula. Although she was like, "I'm not sharing your enthusiasm," because I was like, "Yes, you got scratched." So I was kind of happy she wasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
But what are some of the other crazy experiences you remember or stick out in your mind?
Trying to think here. I've been doing this, and you know, as a seasoned vet in the field, some of these investigations start to tie together.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even remember half of them anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know half of the locations I've been to, and I can't even name them all.
Oh man. Yeah.
It's bad.
Usually I have to start looking at a list and going, "Oh yeah, something happened there, I think."
Yeah, because like I'll think about places. Like I remember I investigated the Belle of Louisville one time.
Oh, okay.
Like that steamboat down in Louisville, Kentucky.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's supposed to be the oldest ship and the oldest steam-powered boat in the world or in the nation or something. I don't know.
Oh,
But we had some crazy experiences happen there. Like I remember, oh yeah, there's one there. We actually were using an SB7 at the time, but what we did was we had somebody put headphones, like soundproof headphones, on the SB7 and listen for answers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And anytime something, he would just blurt out whatever he heard come through. And even if it didn't make sense to the person that was asking the questions, you know, he would just, that's how you would do it, basically.
Right.
And getting like really intelligent conversation, like name of the boat was coming through, like the name of the person, how she died, all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was crazy, all the stuff that was coming through. So that was a very profound experience too.
That sounds like something we ought to try.
Yeah.
Because the person that has the headphones on really can't hear your questions that you're asking.
Oh, exactly. And you put noise-canceling headphones on, you turn the volume on it all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can't hear anything that's being said.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. We have to try that. I mean, I've done something similar to that, but what I did was called the Gonsfeld experiment. And what I did is I had the headphones that were going into an SB7, and they were noise-canceling headphones, of course. And I had goggles that were, you know, white. And I had a red light on me, so I couldn't see, but all I could hear is just nothing but white noise. And I actually heard a little girl say hello twice. And I even announced it. If there was anybody that was in the room with me, I said, "There's a little girl that said hello twice." And that was pretty interesting. Of course, nobody could hear anything except for what I was saying.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but still, I mean, that's when it gets interesting, is when it's like they can't hear the questions that are being asked, but they're still hearing. Nobody's biased with their answers. They're not being misled by the questions.
Right. Because, using the SB7 is basically the power of suggestion, because your mind actually thinks it's hearing something, and then you blurt it on out. But if you have someone next to you and they say, no, I didn't say that, it said something else. So then you have that issue.
And that's the biggest problem with EVPs, too, is the power of suggestion.
Yep.
I think that's one of the biggest things with EVPs is that nobody really knows exactly what they're saying.
Exactly. Especially when you use especially if you use that Panasonic D, whatever the heck it is.
DR60?
Yeah, that thing is just all garbled. I mean, how can you actually believe you're getting a legitimate response with that when it's all, oh, look, Donald Duck said hi. Seriously? I can't.
I actually am a user. I use the DR60. It's something. It's terrible quality. It is terrible quality when it comes through the speaker. But you have to learn how to listen to it to really figure out what it's saying. Because once you start to listen to the phonetic sounds before and after the higher pitches and the whispers. Mm-hmm. And so that's what you start to listen for, and then you start to hear words, and it's hard to really describe, but you start to get it if you go off of that aspect. But at the same time, though, I agree, it's terrible audio quality. I mean, it's even worse than trying to decipher an EVP in general. It's probably the hardest one to decipher, if anything.
But what it sounds like is when you're talking about, trying to train yourself to listen, it sounds like that you're programming your brain to believe that you're hearing something, and you're also manifesting the words in your mind. So that's what I'm thinking what's happening there, because you're saying you have to kind of train yourself. So you're teaching yourself how to decipher it. In other words, you're actually reprogramming. You're making your brain think you're hearing things.
Well, it would be the same thing with any EVP recording, whether it's on a Tascam, a Zoom, or a DR60. You got to learn how to listen to them, because it's all the same. Yeah. It's just better. It's not better quality than others.
Yeah.
The DR60, like I said, is the worst quality recorder that you can get.
Oh, yeah.
But, still the same, you still got to learn how to decipher it regardless.
Yeah, the easy way to actually get around that is find the clip where you're hearing something, mark it, save it, send it to 3 different people, and see if they get the same thing. If they get the same thing, then yes, you've got something. If you get 3 different answers, then, when in doubt, throw it out. You got nothing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, let's see. CCP, Creepy Cincinnati Paraforensic. How did that all come about?
Well,
the name just gets you.
Mike. You said what?
I said the name just gets you. Creepy Cincinnati Paraforensics.
Yeah. Well, we were, Mike, my wife, my brother, and Mike Rings. Mm-hmm. We started CCP. We were originally on this small local paranormal team, and we didn't really like how she was she was really running things. Okay. So, we decided to form our own team, and me and Mike, really formed it together, and, we were trying to decide on a unique kind of name that took a look at the paranormal from a more forensic side of things. So we thought of for paraforensics. So, and we originally associated with the website creepycincinnati.com when we had Lindsay Vetter on our team, because she was the photographer for creepycincinnati.com. But then I guess, we stopped associating with Lindsay, and that kind of all fell apart, but we kept the name,
Oh, okay. So, since you have the title forensics, were you doing any forensic investigating by looking up, spraying the luminol on the floor to see if there's actually traces of blood and stuff like that?
Well, I wouldn't say we went that far with our forensics. It was not necessarily forensic investigating because it was just more along the lines of like more in-depth investigating than typical just looking for activity. You know what I mean? We were like more trying to find answers than anything, but we couldn't think of a name that really suited a scientific mind outside of like forensics at the time, you know.
Okay. And let's see, how many investigations did you guys do as CCP?
Oh man, we did hundreds. I can't even count the number of investigations we did. Because, I mean, I only just recently formed Spectral Ohio Para Forensics in March. So, I mean, from November of 2015 to March of 2018, we were doing probably, I mean, there were some months where we'd do 3 or 4 locations a month.
Oh, yeah. We try to do that, but it gets kind of time-consuming. So I'm assuming you've been doing a lot of residential.
No.
Really?
No, in fact, we hardly did any residentials. We did a few over the years, but we typically did big name locations. Like we did Ohio State Reformatory a few times. We did Whispers of Sage a couple times. We did Thornhaven Manor, the Stamsville Rectory. We did those 10 times a piece. You know, I mean, we've been to pretty much every big name location in the Midwest, at least, you know, that you can hit. So, I mean, but that we've done hundreds of investigations. And plus, I mean, we were in charge of the Higginsport School for a year. So, I mean, we were investigated that place a number of times. And then, you know, now I run Haunted Bryan. And so CCP's been up here for a number of times. So,
I
mean, it's hard to know.
What happened to the Higginsport School? Is it still available or is it gone?
It's still there physically, but it is not available for investigations anymore. What happened at the time, a long time ago when we first got to school, Lindsay, we had just Lindsay had just left the team, basically.
Okay.
And so, but we were still friends with her and everything. It was just a business thing. And so we decided to we went on an investigation somewhere, and we asked her to watch the school for the night. Okay. And while she was there during the day, I guess it was her with Justin Brown filming the whole thing.
Okay.
And I guess her and this other guy, Levi, decided that they were going to remove the school's time capsule from 1980 out of a brick in the side of the school and not tell anybody about it until they posted the video of it online.
Oh, damn.
And so when I saw the video, I called Lindsay and asked her where the time capsule was. She said she had it. I went down, I grabbed it and brought it back to the school, left it there because I figured, you know, it's the school's it's part of the school. It should be there. People should read it when they come and whatnot. And when I left, I came back a few days later, and the school had been broken into, which was nothing new. I mean, that happened on the regular. And the time capsule was gone. There was glass broken everywhere. There were rocks obviously rocks were thrown through the glass windows inside the building. And I mean, it was just changing. And the owner got so upset that we had to remove the time capsule without telling him. And I understand that, but what I didn't know was that Lindsay did not consult with him before she did it.
Oh.
Because she had already been in contact with him even before I was in contact with him.
Oh, wow.
So I thought she had already talked to him, and that's how she even knew where the time capsule was, because I didn't even know there was a time capsule.
Huh.
And she removed it, and he got upset about it and said, until the time capsule's returned, nobody's allowed inside the school. And I said, that's fine, but somebody stole the time capsule, and I don't know where it is.
Are you sure she don't have it again?
I'm sorry?
Are you sure she doesn't have it again?
I'm not 100% sure about that. I don't know. She might. She might have stole it and then used it against us later on. I don't know. I'm not going to accuse her of that. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, but I don't know. You know?
Yeah, it kind of sounds like an inside job to me, if you ask. If you ask me, it does sound like an inside job.
All I know is that I did nothing wrong. I don't know. All my involvement was just getting the time capsule back and returning it to the school. You know what I mean?
Well, you did tell the owner that you got it back the first time, and the second time it disappeared. But you made the effort. You brought it back. You put it back where it belonged. So you did your thing. Yeah. Somebody else came and took it.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't be held liable for it.
I mean, the school was so hard to keep people out of because there were so many little nooks and crannies that people could sneak into, and we tried to board every single one up, but they would always find a new one, and
oh wow,
or they would remove a board and break in. I mean, I've had them remove boards and punch through glass just to get in the school. It's like, what the heck, man? Like, why do you want to get in here so bad?
I know, right? Is it still happening now that you know of?
Oh yeah. The school is overrun at this point. Like the neighbor that used to watch over the school for us while we weren't there, he would he would message us every now and then and just tell us how the kids have basically destroyed the gym and they're just breaking in and out all the time. It's just such a shame. And apparently the guy who owned it when we had it sold it or traded it for a boat or something. I don't know.
Oh,
but he no longer owns it, and some new guy owns it, and this new guy apparently is in jail. So I have no idea what's going on with it. I don't know. I'm just worried about what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
So the Higginport School is basically getting trashed as we speak.
Probably, yeah.
Jesus. Oh, man.
It's such a shame. I mean, that's such a beautiful location, too. I loved it.
Oh, yeah. We were actually going to go ahead and try to get in there. Remember I asked you about it a long time ago?
I do remember. I remember we had talked about it, and you guys were scheduled. You wanted to schedule it for the following year, but it never came to fruition. So because we lost it before you could schedule it.
Oh, just our luck, right?
Yeah. Well, I got this haunted Bryan now, so I mean.
Oh, I know.
Maybe that's enough.
How does that exactly work? I mean, is the town actually an established town that is running during the day? I mean, because how does someone actually come in there and investigate the entire town?
Well, yes, it is a town that is active during the day. Each of these buildings typically, well, most of them, I should say, have like a business that runs out of them during the day, like on the bottom floor.
Okay.
Or a restaurant or something. But the second floor, generally around town, the second floor of like 90% of the buildings are untouched. Like from the 1950s, 1940s, like they're just untouched.
Okay.
So you got a bunch of this antique furniture up there. You got a bunch of just old paint peeling off the wall type buildings, and I mean, on top of that, I do have a couple of buildings that are completely abandoned, like the old sheriff's department and jail, which is 150 years old in itself, and then I got an old 1920s grain elevator, which, I've found to be extremely active.
Okay, and what are some of the other places that are actually established buildings that are actually running? What's the story with them?
Well, the first one I typically tell people about is Father John's, which is actually a former Methodist church that was built on a graveyard that had the bodies exhumed. And, well, actually, not all of the bodies were exhumed. There were a few that were unaccounted for.
Oh, jeez.
But now it's a pub that's filled with religious and spiritual items from all around the world, including Tibetan prayer wheels, a large Buddha statue at the base of a bar that's shaped like a cross.
Oh, Jesus.
And prayer flags everywhere from Nepal. I mean, you got Genghis Khan statues everywhere. I mean, it's
Wow.
kind of a mixture. It's kind of a culture war in there spiritually, if you ask me. But it's an old church with an old parsonage area, which is basically like a non-Catholic rectory.
Okay.
I mean, it's insanely haunted. And I love that place. It's probably one of my favorite places because it actually has one of the graves that was never accounted for when they exhumed the bodies was actually found by John, who is the owner of Father John's.
Oh, geez.
Now, John is my business partner in Haunted Bryan, and he was doing excavating down in the basement of Father John's to do some plumbing work,
Right.
and he came across this tomb and this crypt.
Ugh.
And as soon as he found it, he saw the casket, he stopped digging, and then he enclosed it with a glass floor covering over it, and so people can kind of pay their respects and admire it, and be able to dine in that room too.
Oh, no, wait, no. Dine in the room with a casket?
Yeah, casket's in the floor.
Yeah, well, still, honey, would you want to dine in a room where there's a casket?
I would.
Well, they got the rides.
The ride's a different story. This is an actual casket that has a body in it. Well, what's left of it. Well, I know there are some places out in the Middle East where they actually have dinner tables, and you get to dine with your relative. You have their plot that's right next to you, and it's the above ground grave, and then you have your table and your chairs, and you can actually dine with your loved one. I think they did it in India or something like that. That's crazy.
They actually. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. I've seen that. It's like some kind of Day of the Dead. It's like a version of the Day of the Dead or something.
Yeah, they call it Dining with the Dead.
Yeah.
No, that's just creepy. Oh, I'm sorry, no. I mean, I'm a paranormal investigator. Paula's a paranormal investigator. We go out there and we're trying to find, proof and answers for the existence of life after death. But when I would work at a hospital, I was an IT guy at the hospital, and I got into an elevator, and on that gurney was a dead guy. And he was covered up with one of those leprechaun cloths. I looked at the guy, and I go, is that? And he goes, uh-huh. So I kind of stepped away, and then the arm fell off the gurney, and I'm like, ah! And he goes, dude, you're a ghost hunter. This freaks you out. I said, the ghost that we look for, we can't see. This is a dead guy, and he's right next to me. Yeah, it happened a couple times where I shared the elevator with dead people. It's not a cool feeling. So I can just imagine dining next to a coffin. Ugh, no, I'm already irking right now. So
I think that.
Do what?
But I think it's actually really cool. You would too if you actually saw it. It's because it's inside. It's under the floor. You don't really eat next to it. And the table that you eat from is shaped like a cross, and it's suspended from the ceiling. It's really cool.
Okay. A suspended cross from the ceiling that you eat at.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So I'm assuming once the lights
with energy, right?
Yeah, but I'm assuming once the lights go out in this place and the guy goes home, and that's when all hell breaks loose. All the religions start fighting.
That's what I've had mediums say, actually.
I'll bet.
They say it's a culture war spiritually.
Yep.
Like they're at war. Yeah.
And then you have investigators smack dab in the middle of it.
Well, you're right.
Oh man. Okay, next building.
The next one is actually a place called Jackie Blues. Now, this building itself is more than 100 years old. Actually, it was built in 1879.
Oh wow!
And it used to be a carriage manufacturing facility on one end, and then it was apartments on the other end. Like it was apartments during World War II, but before that, I'm not exactly sure what it was. There's some kind of something, but basically, the building was built, and this is actually documented. The building was actually built on top of a house, or on top of the grounds of a house that was demolished. And when they demolished that house, they found the skeletal remains of a human being underneath the foundation.
Oh, good Lord. Now I'm beginning to think of the Wizard of Oz. It was the Wicked Witch of the North, wasn't it? They found a body under the house.
Oh, yeah.
Get it?
Your little feet curled up underneath the house. You know?
Oh, man. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's all World War II apartments up there too, and I mean, the paint's peeling off the wall. Nobody's been up there and used them in years. I mean, I think the last person to live up there lived in there in the 80s.
Okay.
So it's been abandoned. Like the upstairs has been completely untouched for like 30 years, almost 40 years now.
Well, it sounds like a cool place. We'll actually try to, get with you about it for next year and see if we can come on up there. Talk about drinking with the spirits with the spirits. Yeah, that's a good one. She has she barely has a voice, so she actually texted me this.
Enjoying spirits with the spirits.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
There you go.
Oh man. So let's see. You got a big event coming to Haunted Bryan, don't you?
I do. November 10th.
Well, let's talk about it.
November 10th, we are actually having 6 different, para celebrities coming out.
Oh, cool.
We are having Dale and Spratt from the Ghost Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
We are having Sherry DeBenedetti from Ghost Hunters.
Mm-hmm.
We are having Chris Smith and Mike G from TWC.
Okay.
We got Janet Hughes from the RIP Files, and then we got Greg Lawson, the paranormal detective. So, and they're going to lead 5 different groups around town, 5 different buildings.
Oh, wow.
And it'll be a rotational schedule, so every person will get to investigate every building with a different celebrity.
Oh, man. I wish we were able to do that, but we have family coming in on town, like I told you. But yeah, that would have been awesome for us to join you guys with that.
Yeah, I remember. I think I asked you, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. But we have we have family coming in town, so we were unable to do it.
That's all good. We're going to have more events up here in Bryan anyways. This is just the one that gets our name out there,
Yeah. The first one is always the biggest one, so everybody needs to get on over there and check it out. Oh, man.
Place is haunted.
Yeah.
Place is haunted.
Let's see. I'm looking at my little list here. So, Spectral Ohio Para Forensic. That one you just started. Which one? Which group were you in when you did the? Let's see. I believe you said you went to. What was it? Let me think here. Oh God, it's on the tip of my tongue. And the Rectory. Did you go? You went to Saddamsville Rectory?
Oh yeah, I did Saddamsville Rectory probably 7 or 8 times with CCP.
Jeez, we haven't even got to go there once, and now we can't. They don't allow anybody there anymore.
I just come too. I actually do. I know exactly why Terry shut it down.
Why did Terry shut it down?
Because, well, as you may have heard, the rectory was already fairly well known for supposedly having demonic activity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how much truth there was behind that, but people took advantage of the fact there was supposed demonic activity, and people kept pushing the limits of the rectory a little too far.
Okay.
And one day, Terry came home from Houston, and I was actually part of, because I actually was watching, or I was helping Terry, like, clean up after a crew came in and just get it ready for the next group kind of thing. I would watch over the rectory a couple times for her.
Mm-hmm.
And she came to me one time, and she said, I'm going to shut down events at the rectory because she walked in from Houston and went upstairs to the attic and found a pentagram in a circle upside down with candles and a dead cat that had been sacrificed.
Ugh. Damn. That's just sick in itself. I don't know why people do that. I really don't know why people are doing that, why they're so sick and demented to do things like that at, well-known locations. It just blows my mind.
Well, it's like you're ruining it for everybody, first and foremost. And second of all, if you really don't know what the hell you're doing when you do that stuff, you could really get yourself into some deep, deep shit. And then everybody else is going to have to deal with that stuff, too.
Yeah.
Sorry for cussing.
Oh, that's all right. We try to keep it clean, but hell, it never happens. I mean, that's the one thing that we always talk about on our show is, you got these wannabes that end up going in and doing residentials. And they basically don't know their ass from a hole in a wall. And when they go in, first thing they're going to say, oh, you got a demonic presence or something like that. And you just scare the hell out of the people that live there. I mean, they're already frightened. And then next thing you know, they do something stupid, make matters even worse, and then you have to have another team come in and clean up their mess.
Well, see, the problem I see with most teams that do residential investigations is that all they do is really just kind of go in, stir things up, and leave, and then just leave the mess for the homeowner, and then the homeowner having to call them and blow their phone up, and I just leave the residential investigations to professionals. I don't think I can stress that enough.
Right. But
people that have the ability to remove the spirit from the home. Right. Don't just go in there, stir it up, and then oh yeah, you gotta go. See ya.
Right?
What am I supposed to do now? Now I got to deal with all this?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of horror stories about that. There was this one guy that contacted me, and he told me that he started having weird issues that were happening, and there was a team that went in, and they basically set their stuff up. And this is a crazy story too. This is a paranormal group. I don't remember their name, but they came in. They did their thing, and somehow or another, they kind of finagled $326 from the poor guy.
What?
Yeah. They said that they need to have this type of money so they can upgrade their equipment so they can do a better evaluation of the evidence that they captured.
Wow.
They did nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, they did nothing because he actually had his own cameras in the house. And he videoed. They didn't do nothing. They set up 4 cameras, and they mostly sat on the chair. They played on their phone, and 2 of them went off somewhere, and they made matters worse. They had an issue where they started having cupboards were opening and closing, doors were slamming, footsteps, noises of dishes. Nothing really bad. Until they left, then people in his family were getting hurt. So I'm not sure what the heck they did. First of all, they charged this poor guy, and then they made matters even worse, where another team had to go in and clean it up. So, yeah, it's just... I mean, it's one of the main reasons why we don't do residentials because, I mean, I hate to say it, we're not professional because, there are no professionals. We don't have the mindset to go ahead and cleanse someone's house. Oh, crap. We lost them. Huh. I'm talking to myself. That's awesome. I do believe we lost you, huh?
Yeah, I think you did. I was like, wait, what just happened?
It's kind of weird. Whenever we talk about dark entities that are affecting a house, like a demonic presence or something like that, or a group that goes in and causes more trouble when they leave, we always have something happen. Either the phone will get staticky, the call will drop, the person on the other line won't be able to hear us. It's just really bizarre. It's like, do we have something here at the house?
Well, it makes me wonder, too, because I actually just got a new toy.
Uh-oh, what'd you get?
I got a haunted doll, supposedly haunted doll, like a possessed doll that this guy turned the eyes into REM, like it turned the head into a REM pod.
Yeah.
And has case sensor on the chest.
Okay.
And so the doll itself is already supposed to be possessed. And I bring it into my house, and it's sitting over there on a Ouija board table. So I don't know if it could have been that even, too.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I remember seeing a picture of it. It kind of looks like there's a K2 in the chest.
Yep.
It's basically like a glorified trigger object or a Boo Bear, but it's a doll.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
The haunted doll, supposedly.
Yeah, I'm sorry. People may hate me for this, but I don't believe in haunted dolls if someone gave me one because, first of all, how do you mail order a spirit? Can someone explain that to me? I mean, are they going to ship a doll that's wrapped up in, I don't know, sage maybe? Or they have it inside a container that has holy water? Or is it surrounded by salt? I mean, how on earth can they ship a spirit to somebody? I call bullshit on it. I'm sorry, I do.
I guess the only way it could be possible is if the spirit just followed wherever the object went, but I don't see that really happening either.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand it if you go to maybe a yard sale or something and you see something that's like really, really cool, and it's like, ooh, that's cool. And you take it home and you start having weird things happen because, well, there's an attachment to it. But I don't understand the fact that, oh, well, I'm gonna wrap this candlestick up and I'm gonna ship it to California from Tennessee. Oh, yeah. How does the spirit stay attached to it?
I don't know. I really have no idea. That's why I had to make sure I said supposedly.
Yeah.
I'm just basing it off what I was told. I will never claim. It still has yet to be proven to me that it's possessed.
Yeah.
So I have yet to actually see that happen yet. So I'm just sitting here waiting for it. But I'll say supposedly for now.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be like a trigger object. Is what the main use of it is.
Yep, exactly. That's what I'm going to use it for.
Yep, because I don't think it's going to be quote unquote possessed. It's just a trigger object. So my kind of skepticism on this would be, say, like if the K2 goes off in the doll, well, someone's going to think, oh, because it has an attachment, that it's communicating with you. No, it's just a K2 and it's a trigger object.
Yeah, and I'm just going to use it. Like I said, I have yet to have any reason to believe that it's possessed except them just saying it. So, I'm just strictly using it as a cool trigger object. I think it's awesome.
Oh, yeah. So, on the same topic of devices, what is like the main device that you actually use on investigations, or more like your go-to device?
I use a number of them, actually. Like, I don't ever use just one device. I don't know if you ever seen my picture. I call it the Spectral Staff. Mm-mm. It's got like a. Do you know Alan Whitmore in Paratronics?
Yep, he's one of our sponsors.
Yep, Alan Whitmore. The REM HD meter.
Okay, yeah.
I got a REM HD meter on one side. I got my recorder in the middle, and then I got K2 on the other. And I have it attached to this monopod. So I'm not touching any of the devices. I'm not making them go off. Because I know that REM HD meter is a little bit sensitive when you hold it.
Right, yeah.
So I figure if I put it on this tripod mount, if I just set it on there, I'm not touching it. You know, if it goes off, that's not me.
Sounds about right.
So, yeah. So I just usually typically just have that staff on me, and I just walk around with those 3 devices on at all times.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Hate to do this to you, but we are at the half mark of the show, so we're going to go ahead and take probably about maybe a 5.5 minute break, and we will be right back with our guest, Austin Maynard. So just hang in there, and we will be right back. Maybe not. My ads didn't work. Oh, wow. Oh, there they go. Alrighty. See, we actually have to have ads that play.
Yeah.
So, alrighty. Let's try this one more time.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. And they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. And they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The Phantasmic Journey Podcast is brought to you by Tascam and Amazon Studios. For more than 30 years, Tascam has developed products for every segment of the sound and music industry. From the high-end audio professional in a major post-production studio to the novice of hobbyist at home, Tascam is everywhere. They are a company committed to providing their customers audio and video solutions that enable breakthroughs by using sound in ways that are exciting as they are accessible, even recording the voices of the dead. You asked for a non-scripted paranormal TV show. You begged for a non-staged paranormal TV show. You begged and you pleaded, and we have listened. We present to you Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown. It was released October 31st, 2017. In this series, we show you what it's like behind the scenes and conducting a real paranormal investigation. Join Gavin Kelly, Colin Purcell, and their special guests to seek out the existence of life after death by going to numerous haunted locations such as jails, hospitals, battlefields, and museums, collecting compelling evidence by means of video, photography, and EVPs. In this season, the crew investigates the St. Albans Sanatorium, Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, Jailhouse Pizza, and the famed Monroe House. And you can watch Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown on Amazon.com right now. Season 2 and 3 will be coming soon. Your journey begins now.
All right, well, welcome back to the Phantasmic Journey podcast. Our guest tonight is not only a paranormal investigator, but he's a researcher and enthusiast, and also the founder of CCP and SOP. If anybody wants to know what that is, CCP is Creepy Cincinnati Para Forensics, and the newest one that he has founded is Spectral Ohio Para Forensics. Yes, I'm talking about 27-year-old Austin Maynard. Welcome back to the show, Austin. How'd you like those ads? They kind of messed up, didn't they? Oh, man. It just didn't make any sense to me. I went ahead and set it up to play the ads, and it just sat there and looked at me. And I forced it, and the next thing you know, it decides to play it itself. That's why it kind of duplicated itself. You heard the same ad twice.
Yeah, I did. That bullying ad.
That's kind of weird. I don't know why it actually did that. But anyway, before we went on break, we were talking about devices that you're using. And we were talking about that one doll that you have that's basically like a trigger object. But what was the device that you were talking about before we went on break? What's wrong with you? Hey, you forgot too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh man!
I remember I was talking about that staff that I use.
Yeah, you're talking about the REM box from Alan Whitmore.
Oh yeah, the REM HD meter. Because when you hold it, it's real sensitive. So like sometimes it'll set the REM pod or the REM device off on it, or set the static off on it.
Ah, okay, yeah. We haven't got one of those
when
yet.
You hold it up too high.
Yeah, Alan Whitmore of Paratronics is one of our sponsors for the Paranormal Journey to the Unknown show, and we've been using the 360 motion pod with the lasers, also the regular 360 motion pod, and then we got the static pod, which is like a REM pod. And the latest one that we've got is this MRD. It's a micro radar detector. So it basically works as a shadow detector. You turn the sucker on, let it calibrate itself, and just stick it in the corner. And if anything comes in front of it, it'll actually go off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he comes out with some really cool ideas and devices.
Oh yeah, I love his equipment. I've actually been experimenting with a couple of REM pods. Now he's got this wire that attaches to the inside of one, like it goes into an output jack on the new Red pods.
Oh, really?
Like where the antenna would go.
Uh-huh.
Now, because the antenna is removable now, it's got that audio jack, it looks like.
Yeah.
And you can attach a wire to it and a shielded audio cable and attach the alligator clamps onto the other end of it. And what I've been doing is I've been attaching to the alligator clip to the other Red pod that I have to the antenna of it. And so it just creates this big, long Red pod field. So I've been going as long as about 15 feet between the two Red pods right now. So one Red pod is connected to another Red pod that's 15 feet away by this one wire. And the wire has a Red pod field all across it.
So if I wanted to, I mean, I have the same pod you're talking about that has the audio jack where the antenna goes in.
Yep.
If I put together a cable that goes to an alligator clip, I could actually connect that to, say, I don't know, some type of object, and I can use it as a trigger object. It'll go off by the REM pod?
Essentially, I don't know if it works that way. Like, I don't know if you can attach it to any object like that, but I know that if you attach it to, like, a pizza pan or, like, something metal, that metal object becomes a Red pod field.
Yeah. It's kind of like a trigger object. What you do is you connect it to, that's what I was basically saying. You connect it to the plate and you put something in it. Yeah, if you put like a rock or something on top of the plate, or maybe a toy, and if anything comes near that toy, then it'll go off.
Yeah, exactly. But what I've been doing is I've been attaching it to another Red pod field, or like another Red pod's antenna. And so now I just got two different Red pod fields, and then I got this long 15-foot Red pod field that I could put down like a long hallway or something, you know what I mean?
Man, can you just imagine having 4 of those connected and you could make it a complete circle or a square?
Oh, I've been calling it like a web. Like I've been experimenting with getting like an audio splitter too.
Right. That
you can attach into it and attach multiple cables out of the same Red pod and attach them to multiple Red pods and have like this big net. You can just will catch any spirit that passes by it. It's gonna catch it. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to think about.
Now, this mentality actually leads me to you thinking and doing things outside of the box.
Mm-hmm.
What other outside of the box things you've done?
Well, I mean, outside of just kind of viewing the paranormal from outside of the box, like when you talk about dark matter, dark energy, I think about stuff like, you know, how dark matter and dark energy might tie into the paranormal. Right. But I also try to experiment with different things. Like, I've been working with this guy, his name is Jay Prather. He's of IDC Devices. He actually, I love his mentality. I love the way he approaches the paranormal. Mm-hmm. He basically is all about data acquisition, data collection, research, just like seeing where the spikes in humidity and temperature and barometric pressure and static levels are around a room. Like, he's talking about putting up these sensors. Like, you can set up 5 sensors of each, like category, basically, of like 5 sensors of temperature, 5 sensors for humidity, all this stuff. You can set them up around a room and investigate, and then while you're investigating, it is recording second by second of each level. And so, and that way you can go back and you can put all that data into a spreadsheet, and if you put it in a spreadsheet, obviously you can sort it to sort where the highest levels are up top, where the highest spikes are up top, and shows you what second it's on, or what second that high spike was there. And you can kind of go back to your video footage and see, okay, this time, what were we doing? Where were we at? Were we right next to it? Were we across the room? Why are the levels reading this high?
It kind of Sounds like a device that Ghost Lad was using when they say that they're going to cast the electronic net. It was a handheld device that he would place some different places in the location, and it would actually monitor distance, shadows, temperature, barometric pressure, static, all that stuff. And then once you're done, it had a little SD card in it, and it saved all the data so you could actually look at it at a later time, where he could actually see and then monitor where this entity was going, if it was walking on down the hallway or if it came out of a wall. And then sometimes these devices actually show it come through a door and go down the hall, go down the stairs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
what
exactly,
it sounds like.
Basically what it is. But it's basically just different sensors. Like each sensor is its own individual sensor, and you can line them up. You can put them in any kind of order combination, put them in a path through a doorway. I mean, it's just like that, basically.
Oh, man, we need to get our hands on some of those.
Yeah, he has them to where you can put it on an SD card, and then you could put the data from the SD card onto a spreadsheet like that.
Okay.
And I'm actually working with him really closely, and he's building me a ghost box that has, an ion generator and a laser grid and a REM sensor and a static sensor and all this other stuff that's attached to it, on top of all these sensors that I'm going to be having around the room. And we're going to just experiment. We're just going to go crazy and experiment with all kinds of stuff,
Yeah. But you don't want to oversaturate with a bunch of sensors and devices.
Oh, no. I mean, we got a big enough location that these sensors, I'm only going to have 5 sensors of each category. Like, I'll have 5 humidity sensors placed around the granary or the jail or something. The jail has 2 floors.
Okay.
So, I mean, these sensors are not going to be right next to each other, but I can put them, all throughout the hallways.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can always get more sensors, too, to put them in one in each room, too, So, I mean, wherever it goes, literally, I can track it.
That sounds cool.
If I wanted to, but I don't have to go overboard with it. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. You might want to cast electronic net by covering as many places as you can. I mean, I would. But that means you're going to get a lot.
I mean, that's the idea in a sense, but you don't want it to be every step you take, there's a sensor,
Oh, well, yeah, of course. I mean, it would be at least maybe 10 to 15 feet away from each other.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
And does it have to be in the middle of the floor, or can you put it up against a wall?
You can put it up against a wall.
Okay.
It'll just, it reads I don't know what kind of a radius it has for what it reads, but, I mean, I'd have to ask him about that. I never thought about that before.
Yeah, because
I'm sure Jay is probably listening in, but...
Yeah, the reason why I'm asking, because if you put it in the middle of the floor, then I can understand you have a radius going all the way around it. But if you put it up against the wall, well, then you just basically cut the radius in half, or it's just basically going to go up the wall, so it's not going to get the hallway. It's just going to get that area up above by the wall.
Well, so what you do is then you find out what the radius is, and then you put it that far away from the wall. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What about...
so then you cover that much space.
Yeah, what about connecting it to a mini tripod? That way you can get above and below it.
Yeah, you could do that as well. I mean, there's many different options that you could do. I have one of those little... I have a couple of those little... those flexible tripods that are only maybe 1.5 feet tall, maybe.
Yeah.
And they have the feet that bend, and you can put them in all kinds of shapes. I have those little ones. They only sit 1 foot off the floor. And
yeah, that would be perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And I plan on doing that with them, too, and I just plan on putting them everywhere. I want to try them. I have these locations to my disposal, basically, or at my disposal at any time.
Right.
So I have the ability to test all this stuff out.
Yeah, because I've been working with Paranalogies. Jeremy Jones is one of our sponsors also, and we got the 360 and the regular periscope. Well, I came up with the idea to go ahead and mold a base to go to the bottom of the 360 and the regular periscope and hook it to a tripod. And he's like, well, why? And I'm like, well, think about it. You're actually going to be able to get stuff that comes near it, over it, and under it. And he's like, that's a good idea. I mean, we actually did that a couple times, and the activity that we got was pretty cool. And it was at the, where was it? I think the U.S. Marine Hospital when we used the tripod mount and also our light rods from Bill Chappell. But yeah, it actually worked. And the thing was, it's kind of weird. It started in the middle of the periscope for like the original one, which basically symbolizes something is underneath it. Because how can you be actually in the middle when it usually starts on left or right? So if it's in the middle, it means it's under. And we actually had that happen a couple times, and that was awesome.
Wow.
So,
See, I'm thinking Jeremy should create like a huge globe of the periscope. Like you should create like a periscope globe where it's like literally the spikes that the 360 and the regular periscope have. It's just like those all over around a ball, and the sensors are all around, so like you can tell exactly where it is around. Like, I think that'd be cool.
Well, actually, what he wanted to come up with, since I came up with the idea about using a tripod, is he was building a tower of 360s.
Oh.
So, yeah, he would have a 360 and then a pole and a 360 and a pole and a 360 and a pole. And it would be probably about, maybe 1.5 feet tall. And it would go on top of a tripod. So that way you can actually get close to 2 foot of area for it to detect something. Maybe like a kid. And the funny thing is say like if you're at a school, elementary school, where there's a lot of children that basically roam the halls, you set up this little 2-foot tower, and you start seeing a light up from the bottom, and it goes all the way to the top, but it's only on one side. That basically just showed you that there is a child standing next to it, and you can see exactly where it's at. So that's one of the things that he's working on. I don't know if he actually went through with it or not, but that is totally cool to do that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see that in action, actually.
Yep. It's the same thing, almost like the light rods that we got from Bill Chappell. They were actually used in the Bell Witch Cave with Ghost Adventures. And the neat thing was that we had these set up at the U.S. Marine Hospital. I had the periscope down the hall. Now, this is basically the same hallway that the Tennessee Race Chaser saw a shadow kind of walk against the wall and then disappear. So I set up the periscope, the regular one, at the end of the hall. And then about 5 feet away, I put one of the light rods up. 5 feet away, I kind of diagonaled it, put another light rod up, and then 5 feet away. I kind of like zigzagged it, so if anything can go through there, it's going to light up. Well, we saw the periscope light faintly, and then each rod actually lit up until it came to the 360 that was right in front of us.
Wow.
So that was cool.
Yeah, that's a little out there.
Oh, yeah.
Creepy.
Yeah, so something was coming to say hi or play poker with us.
Yeah, right in front of you, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
So, but...
yeah, I've only had the periscope. I've had a periscope once before, and I only had it go off one time, and it was at the Randolph County Infirmary.
Okay, well, what...
In that jail cell, actually. Like, I set it right down on the door of the jail cell, and I saw it go from one side to the other.
Was that right after you set it down, or did you let it sit there for a bit?
I let it sit there for about 5 minutes, and then it lit up.
Because usually when you turn it on and you set it down, it takes like maybe 30 seconds, and it'll cycle all the way around because it's calibrating itself.
Yeah, I saw it do that, and then I let it sit there for like 5 minutes, and my partner Mike, he was in the bed inside that jail cell, and he was just laying down on it, and I saw it just go around, and I was like, oh crap, something just left.
Huh. Yeah, those things are really cool. The things that we actually accomplish with them. We've had some strange things happen at Old South Pittsburgh Hospital. Have you ever been there?
No, it's been one of those locations that I've wanted to go to. I know it shut down for a while, but it just reopened.
Yeah, it's they're going through the renovation stages right now. They're cleaning it up, removing walls, fixing plumbing. They're just basically rebuilding it, so to speak, from the inside out.
Okay, well, what are they going to do with it?
It's going to be open back up for paranormal investigations.
Oh, they're just going to keep it for paranormal investigations?
Yeah, but they want to go ahead and fix it on up and make it to city code, so they never have to go through any problems again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That would be the smart thing to do.
Oh, yeah. But Old South Pittsburgh Hospital is a really cool place. We've got some compelling evidence there. They call it the new nurses station on the second floor, or first floor, or second floor. I get those confused, but it's the main nurses station, and there's elevators right next to it. And if you go into the nurse's station, there's a bathroom that's over there where a nurse killed herself, committed suicide.
Wow.
So I set up a digital recorder, and of course, Tascam is our sponsor, so we use all their digital recorders. And I set up the DR100 Mark III on the counter, and we went off to go investigate. I didn't hear anything, but when we listened to the recording, we heard the elevator door open and close, and there's no power in the building in that section. Yeah, the elevator has no power. The power has been cut a long time ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, we played that.
Now, I've had something similar happen, actually, at St. Joseph Hospital in Lorain, Ohio.
Okay.
Except the elevator doors didn't open, but I heard the elevator door ding.
Oh, wow.
And we actually had 2 separate groups capture it on 2 separate floors at the same time.
It's just strange with these elevators.
Like, on one side, like, when we were up on the 3rd floor, I think, and we heard it with our ears, but on the 1st floor, they actually captured it on their recorder.
Right.
And when we played back the video of when they were there and when we were there and when we heard it and when they heard it, like, it matched up almost exactly at the same time. So we heard the elevator bell, like, it was a loud elevator bell, like, ding!
Right.
Like, it just... Yeah, it just was crazy. And so I had experience with elevators in hospitals before.
Yeah, we recently did the old Massac County Courthouse and Jail last year, and we got some crazy stuff that went on there. And what we did is we actually filmed it live. Paula was live, and I was live, and we were on Facebook. So people got to see and experience what we experienced live. So that was really cool. But after we got done with that, they started doing more renovations and stuff. And one of our friends was walking down the hall, and right when he got near to the elevator, it went ding, and it opened.
What?
Yeah, and then it closed, and that was it. He didn't think anything of it. So he went and talked to his wife. He's like, yeah, a strange thing happened. He goes, I walked on by on that 1st floor, and I heard a ding, and the elevator door opened up. The light came on and everything. I kept on going, and then it shut, and that was it. She looked at him and goes, there's no power to those elevators. They're supposed to come work on the elevators in about 2 weeks.
Wow. That's nuts.
Tell me about it. Lately, it's a lot of stuff going on with elevators when they have no power. They're either working, they're opening, they're dinging. It's like, what the hell? How is this possible?
Yeah, I don't get it. But I mean, it's definitely the coolest thing when it happens because you know that's not normal.
Mm-hmm. So, have you ever been scratched before?
I have yet to be scratched. I have been bitten.
Oh,
before.
You've been bitten?
I have been bitten.
Okay, I gotta hear this.
It was bad enough that it actually left a bruise for a couple weeks.
Okay, I gotta hear the story on this one. How did you get bit?
Well, I was actually staying over at my friend Mike's house.
Oh, so you're horse playing.
Yeah, exactly. His house is supposedly very haunted as it is because he's had a number of spirits attached to him for a while.
Okay.
And so his daughter lived in Cleveland, in the Cleveland area, and so her bedroom is kind of just not being used. And so me and my wife stayed the night over there one night. You know, not thinking anything of it. We stayed in their daughter's bed, and when I woke up in the morning, I noticed I had a little like red mark on my arm. I didn't think anything of it, you know. And I sat there, I drank coffee, and looked back down at my arm. It was now a bruise.
Oh wow!
Like it started to turn purple, and I actually have a picture of the bruise on my phone. It's a perfectly circular. But you can actually see the teeth marks on it if you blow the picture up. It's
wow!
Nuts. It's like, who the heck bit me in the middle of the night? Because it wasn't there when I went to sleep.
That's kind of crazy. I mean, I can relate to that story. We were filming at the St. Albans Sanatorium in Bradford, Virginia, and the night before we were investigating, we were up in this one room. I have no idea whose room it is, but it's really bizarre because there's one chair that is in the middle of the room, just sitting in the middle of the room. Then there's another chair that is actually next to a window, so like somebody's sitting there, they can look out the window.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't think anything of it. We started doing like our baseline. Excuse me. And the whole room was 65 degrees. The chair in the center was 88.
Wow.
Couldn't figure out why. Nobody sat in it. And it's only been us that entire day. So I just made a little joke. I said, it must be someone with a hot head. That's all I said. The next day, we were filming my intro for the episode. And I'm walking down the grand staircase. And I'm talking about how this used to be a central depot for the Civil War. And I'm like, I got to stop. Camera guy goes, why? I go, I'm feeling a pain on my shin. He's like, okay. He goes, well, I'm not going to stop. So he kept rolling. I get down to the foot of the stairs. I'm sitting. I roll up my pant leg. There is a circular, what looks like a bruise. I got kicked in the shin while I was walking down the stairs.
Wow.
Oh, it gets better. So I'm like, and the camera guy is actually filming it, and it's getting redder and redder right before your eyes. It's on our first episode, the St. Albans one. They called Walking the Halls or the Halls That Talk or something like that. I'm not really sure what it's called. I forgot. It's my own show, and I can't remember the darn title of the episode. Can you believe that? I think it's Walking the Halls or something like that. So that wasn't the best part. Then we were walking upstairs going toward the bird cage, which is basically the area where they take the patients on out, if they're good, to get fresh air so they can actually be out there in the sunshine, get fresh air. I'm talking about Dr. John C. King. Yeah. And I'm talking about how they bring the patients out there, how the doctor changed the school and everything to his liking and yada, yada, yada. And I raised up my hand for some weird reason, no idea. And Chad looked at me and goes, dude, look at your palm. And I'm like, why? I had 8 paper cuts going down my palm. And they were bleeding.
What?
And they were bleeding. And I'm like, damn, this place got it in for me. So I said, all right, let's just cut. I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to go to the truck and get some wipes or something, and I'll clean it up. So he's like, okay. I walk all the way out of the building to the truck, open up the glove box, and would you know it? Paper cuts are gone. But we got it on camera.
Hey, that's the important thing.
Yeah, and there's no way in hell I could have did that by walking down a hall where there's nothing there.
Oh, exactly. And that's insane. I've never heard of anything like that before. Paper cuts?
Yeah, they were paper cuts. They were like real thin lines, and they were bleeding.
Wow.
It was crazy. It didn't make any sense.
I would have loved to have seen that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we had some crazy stuff happen there. We had a Furby. You know, some people use different trigger objects and stuff. Well, we used the Furby. And we placed the Furby down on the floor inside Jacob's room. And if you watch the footage, he's sitting one way, and the next thing you know, in 3 frames, he spins all by himself.
Wow.
So it's kind of like something grabbed its head and just turned it, or it just spun to go look at something. I don't know. Truly amazing, the stuff that we have captured. But instead of me talking about it, what is the most compelling evidence you have ever captured?
I have captured a door moving on its own before.
Okay.
It's actually happened right here in Bryan. We were up in the old ballroom above where the original Bryan jailhouse and the site of the first and only public hanging in Williams County was. This building was built on top of those grounds, and this door on the 3rd floor leads into a ballroom. And the ballroom itself is over 100 years old. And we were doing, I can't remember what we were doing, but we were investigating and we were filming.
Okay.
It was a public investigation, actually. And so multiple people saw this. And I actually saw a door move, or I saw a shadow dart across the door frame. And I asked if anybody else just saw that shadow. And at the same time, on the video feed, you actually see the door open like 5 or 6 inches on its own, and it's been very stationary for like the entire time we were filming.
Huh.
And so I actually captured it, just moved like 5 or 6 inches, and that's it.
Oh, man. I have yet to see a door open or close. Sometimes we actually hear door handles jiggle.
Yeah.
I mean, there was this one time, Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, and Brandon Kreitzer, he had an audio clip of what it sounds like when your EKG starts going ballistic and then it flatlines.
Mm-hmm.
So he started playing that, and what happened is it started getting crazy, and he's like, "Yeah, we have an issue with a patient. They're going into cardiac arrest," and it's starting to get louder and louder and crazier, and it started to flatline. He's like, "Nurse, we're losing him. We need assistance. The patient is in cardiac arrest." All of a sudden, you heard this boom, 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 boom. Somebody was knocking on the door like a nurse, knocking if they can come in.
Wow.
And Brandon got up, walked over to the door, and you can tell he is scared shitless. He kicks the door open, thinking that maybe it's a squatter.
Yeah.
And it was nothing. And
Oh, man.
so Joe Vitale was like, all right, if that was you that went ahead and made that knocking sound, can you do it again? And right when he said again, boom, 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 boom. He's like, oh, wow. That is so cool. So, yeah, that was crazy. We still don't know what caused it. And they went ahead and took it upon themselves to go ahead and do a walk so they could figure out what the noise sounded like until they actually found the door that sounded exactly like that knock.
Wow.
And there ain't nobody in there except for us because we had a trailer. We had a trailer that's blocking the entrance. I actually backed the trailer all the way up to the emergency doors, and the doors went around the main trailer, so nobody could get in. Only way in is if you break a window.
Yep.
So
wow,
that was crazy.
Nice, man.
Oh yeah. But I mean, the first thing how we actually got our start. Damn, I'm something in my throat. I think I'm getting sick because she was sitting next to me. We captured what appeared to be an apparition running.
Wow.
And this was captured on a Sony High 8 Handycam with infrared lighting. And this is not really your run-of-the-mill camcorder. It's a High 8 cassette.
Oh.
And you can see the arms go back. The one arm go back like it's running, and the other leg hiking like it's running. And you can see it, plain as day. We had a lot of people tell us, oh, well, it's light play. Okay, then why did it have an arm and a leg? And they're just saying, oh, well, it's something, you know, were there trees there? Dude, it was a wall.
Yeah, people will always find a way to discredit you or doubt you for what you find. It's
oh yeah.
Unfortunately, it's part of the field.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, you have to do that because there is just so many videos that are out there that are so fake. I mean, I can sit there and I'll watch a video, and like that one they brought out where it got like millions of hits. That morgue door that kept opening and closing.
Oh, yeah.
Well, first of all, that was a school. Second of all, that was a school guard that was walking there. The trick was done. If you notice, after you see the light go off and then turn back on, the door is shut. Well, right next to where the door is, there is an actual door. So basically what this person did was they put fishing line, taped it to the door where they can swing out, so it makes the door swing out and then swing in so it's slammed. And once it's slammed, it pops back open by itself. You just slam it again so it pops back open by itself. When the lights went off, he went ahead and yanked the fishing line and snuck back into that room.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
It's all fake.
Now well, there's a really compelling piece of evidence. Have you ever seen that one from Jeff Fenn at Madison Seminary?
I'm not sure. The only seminary one I saw was one that I tore apart, was at the Sedamsville.
Okay.
Where the cross went upside down, the drapes moved.
Wow.
Yeah, I tore that one up.
Well, this one, there's a video out there. It's on, I think it's on Paranormal Warehouse. It's on a bunch of different places.
Okay.
But Jeff Fenn was in the Madison Seminary, and there's this fire extinguisher door that just keeps opened on its own, and intelligently he asks it to close, and it just slams shut real quick. And he actually watches it open by itself, and then it slams shut real quick when he tells it to close it.
Huh.
And it's insane. I've never seen a piece of evidence so just unbelievable like that.
That sounds crazy. Yeah, I would have to see it. But if it's Jeff Fent, you said Jeff Fent?
Yeah, Jeff Fent.
Okay, well, I know he wouldn't fake anything, so it's obviously going to be real.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, I have
Jeff
seen...
is a very credible guy, so...
Oh, yeah, he's a great guy. But I mean, I have seen a lot of videos, and I'll just rip them apart. The famous kitchen where the stove opens, cupboards open, stuff goes flying. Yeah, I tore that one apart. And the other one, a lot of people didn't quite know about it, but it was the one with the little girl and her dad.
Huh.
Where all of a sudden
you're talking about.
Well, she's like sitting at the table, and the next thing you know, her papers start flying around, or the stapler gets thrown off. And then there was one... Yeah, and there's one where she's sitting on the floor, and her little doll, the hair moved up in the air. And then the last one was she was sitting on by the couch, and stuff flew off of the coffee table. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the papers one, where she was like trying to do her homework or something.
Yeah. If you kind of watch closely, you would notice that there was kind of a ripple effect.
Like a green screen?
Oh, it was more like a green screen suit.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I saw the different colorization with the... Whenever the stuff would start moving, you would see kind of like a ripple. It looked like a heat signature. You know, kind of like a heat haze. And yeah, it was a green screen suit. So it was a chroma key suit.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I tore that one apart too.
Yeah, I don't see too many videos out there that are really, that I see credible anymore.
Right. I mean, most of them are all fake.
It's hard to find. It's hard to find a credible one. And now there's so many fakes out there that you even question the actual credible ones, so it's like hard to even determine which is real, which is fake anymore.
I mean, the sad thing is, if you know somebody that is, heavily in Adobe After Effects, you can do anything. I mean, I've seen videos of an apparition that walked up to a cannon in Gettysburg. And the funny thing is these people were driving their car, and next thing you know, they just stop, and they move the camera to that area and let it sit there. So already that tells me staged.
Yeah, exactly.
And then next thing you know, you see an apparition appear. Well, that's simple. It's just somebody actually doing it for real, and then you just mask them and change the opacity and turn them ghostly. Ooh.
Yeah,
simple.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I know all about this stuff, unfortunately, because I actually own my own visual effects company.
Yeah.
So, and no, I don't use any of it in our show because we're not fake. We're 100% real, adequate, and extreme, raw, unscripted, unstaged. We're all that. So,
and a bag of chips.
I wish they had more shows like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think all the shows nowadays are just turning to trash.
It's just for our entertainment. Because,
oh, yeah.
A lot of people were sitting there griping on our reviews for our show, and I can tell that they were diehard Ghost Hunter fans and Ghost Adventure fans and all that because they gave high praise to those shows when they rated it. But they gave us 1 star because they're like, oh, it wasn't exciting, it wasn't this, it wasn't that. I'm like, okay, well, first of all, we're not here to scare you. We're not here to excite you. We're not here to make you think you're seeing a ghost. I mean, seriously, come on now. We're not going to...
Yeah.
Huh? Pictures. Bedsheet. Oh, yeah. I don't know why she always wants to do that. She wants to just run around in a bedsheet go, ooh. No, we're not doing that. I mean, I always say, these people expect to see a ghost. Okay, well, ghosts or spirits do not work by a time clock. Okay, George, I'm working today. You can take the day off. No, they don't do that.
Yeah.
You're not going to get something every freaking time like these people think that you're going to get. Just really drives me up a wall.
Oh, yeah. People are all about instant satisfaction. It's all about it. So, I mean, it's hard to entertain most people nowadays unless you give them something right in front of their faces.
Exactly. And then, of course, then you start dealing with all those camera angles and stuff like, oh, look, there's an orb. Where's the camera facing? The investigator.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one thing that we do not do. Whatever we say we're looking at, the camera goes that direction.
Yeah.
So, oh, my goodness.
Absolutely.
Well, we are getting near the end of the show here, so I'm going to let you have the floor where you can go ahead and tell our listeners where they can find you, what events you're going to be at, if they want to look up your groups here, Creepy Cincinnati Paraforensics or the Spectral Ohio Para, and if you have a website and things of that nature. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find CCP on Facebook at Creepy Cincinnati Paraforensics Facebook page. Just search it up there, you'll find it. Same thing with Spectral Ohio Paraforensics. It's right there on Facebook. And Haunted Bryan Investigations is the newest one that we put together. We're open for private investigations. We're open for public events, anything like that. We can talk about it. Just message us on Facebook and we can get you hooked up. And November 10th, we're having the big Hunt the Town public celebrity event where like I said, we have 6 celebrity investigators coming out to investigate the town and lead 5 different groups of people around 5 different buildings. And also make sure everybody checks out IDC Devices with Jay Prather. He's a great guy. He's got some great stuff. He's making some great devices out there. He's got a lot of great theories, too. And I think people need to start hopping on board with what he's doing.
Yeah. All right. Well, I do appreciate you being on the show tonight. We had a blast. Everything was basically very informative. I mean, the things that we talked about, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. Some can enjoy it. Some of the locations that you can recite off the top of your head where people might want to check out besides the Madison Seminary, because I believe we need to go there too.
Mm-hmm. I mean, some of the locations that people can check out Jefferson Memorial Hospital out in Mount Vernon, Illinois. That's run by Alan Whitmore, actually. Well, yeah, he actually takes care of the place and does the private events out of there.
Yeah, we'll be there in March.
Oh, yep.
Yep.
Everybody should check out. Definitely come to Bryan. For sure.
Definitely.
People check out the Collingwood Art Center in Toledo. That's a great place. I mean, there's so many different locations that I could go through.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of people, well, the thing is, when someone wants to go to a location, they really want to not really read a review about it, but they would like to hear about it from, like, word of mouth from different investigators, It's just a cool place to go. Would you go to it? Yada, yada, yada. Because that's how that's how they get the idea. Like, yeah, let's go ahead and take my team over there. Because, I mean, the reason why we do our show is the locations that we go to, if we do not get anything, evidence-wise, we will dwell on the history, which gives our viewers the aspects of the locations. So they can sit there and say, hey, they didn't get anything, so maybe me and my team can go, and we might get something.
No, absolutely.
So that's what we usually do, and that's one of our synopsis for our show, because it helps a lot of people actually learn more about locations. I mean, yes, you can go ahead and look it up on the internet and read about it, but what's cooler about than watching it and see if anybody gets any evidence from that location? Kind of ramp up their excitement,
People always want a visual. People always want a visual of what there's, what they hear about and everything. So I think if you put that image to them, it makes them even more excited to go to it.
Yeah, Is the Haunted Bryan going to be on Facebook Live at all so people can actually see it?
Oh, yeah. We are always on Facebook Live. I do a live feed every morning from my Facebook page, but I usually share it to the Haunted Bryan page, and then every time we do a public event or we do a private investigation or something, I'll try to go live and just kind of update everybody on what's going on.
That's cool. Yeah, always keep it visual for people so they'll be able to make their own decision, to go to a location. And all my listeners, you need to go check out Haunted Bryan. We will actually try to get there to film sometime next year. Currently, right now, we're booked from now until August, so we'll have to see.
Wow.
But thank you for joining us tonight, and our guest was Austin Maynard, and he is the founder of CCP, Creepy Cincinnati Paraforensics, and also SOP, Spectral Ohio Para. Go on out there and check him out on November 10th at the Haunted Bryan event. So you have yourself a good night, and I'm going to go gargle salt water.
All right, man. You have a good night. Thanks for listening in.
All right. You have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, there you go. That was our special guest, Austin Maynard. Let's see. Whip out my little list here while I still have a voice. Our Phantasmic Journey podcast lineup. Everybody excited? Here we go. Let's cough first. October 24th, we're going to have Shannon Byers. October 31st, we're going to be joined by David Milby. November 7th, Sherry Debinetti from Ghost Hunters. November 14th, 2018, Dalen Lorenzo from Ghost Brothers. November 21st, we're going to have Stephanie Bingham. December 5th, 2018, we're going to have Doogie McDougal from the Tennessee Race Chasers. December 12th, 2018 is still up in the air, but hopefully it will be Scott Porter from the Tennessee Race Chasers. Believe it or not, December may be the month for the Tennessee Race Chasers on the Phantasmic Journey podcast. I hope you all enjoyed the show tonight. My name is Gavin Kelly. I'm your host, and Paula is in the other room hawking up a lung. Hope everybody has a great night.
The Phantasmic Journey podcast is brought to you by Tascam and Amazon Studios. For more than 30 years, Tascam has developed products for every segment of the sound and music industry. From the high-end audio professional in a major post-production studio to the novice of hobbyist at home, Tascam is everywhere. They are a company committed to providing their customers audio and video solutions that enable breakthroughs by using sound in ways that are exciting as they are accessible, even recording the voices of the dead. You asked for a non-scripted paranormal TV show. You begged for a non-staged paranormal TV show. You begged and you pleaded, and we have listened. We present to you Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown. It was released October 31st, 2017. In this series, we show you what it's like behind the scenes and conducting a real paranormal investigation. Join Gavin Kelly, Paula Purcell, and their special guests to seek out the existence of life after death by going to numerous haunted locations such as jails, hospitals, battlefields, and museums, collecting compelling evidence by means of video, photography, and EVPs. In this season, the crew investigates the St. Albans Sanatorium, Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, Jailhouse Pizza, and the famed Monroe House. And you can watch Season 1 of The Paranormal Journey into the Unknown on Amazon.com right now. Season 2 and 3 will be coming soon. Your journey begins now. As you all have of the known and unknown. What do we understand? What answers are we trying to achieve? Are there answers? Tonight, we gather to find more verity. Join us as we take the journey into the unknown.